Hey guys, welcome to the Centre Bounce. It's Centre Bounce with DR. Nah, just kidding. Joe's on his way. He got stuck at work, but we're joined by an amazing guest. Someone, I don't know if you've caught the thumbnail, but it's bloody amazing work there. DR, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming on.
Very well, thanks, buddy. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Almost finished at work for the week. Just get through that Friday. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad weather-wise tomorrow, mate, for the inter-school sports. So, going well, mate. SUPERCOACH team's a little bit ordinary at the moment, but very excited to have a chat with you and Big Joey when he comes in, mate. So, thanks for having me again, mate. Looking forward to it.
Oh, no worries, no worries. And yeah, as you say, SUPERCOACH is a bit ordinary. I don't think we were talking a bit off air about positions in our team and whatnot. You're doing quite well, still in the top 1K. I'm trying to get into the top 1K, but I'm not sure about your bench cover, DR. I think this is the first time ever I've actually had like a 23rd primo and a couple of rookies on my bench that are putting up primo numbers as coverage. How's your team been with all the recent carnage?
Yeah, look, my coverage isn't too bad. So I've got your Sean Manor and Billy Dowling that have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Manor. You kept Manor all year.
Well, I thought that I had that 23rd premium in inverted commas in Zach Fisher, who I've still got as well.
Yep.
But that's absolute carnage. Yeah. So the big decision for me this week, I've got a couple of trades left, is do I just trade Fisher to McKercher? Well, I still can because I've got a heap of cash in the bank. Or do I just leave those two trades for your Uber primos if they get injured or go down for a week or two and just go that way? So that's a big decision this week, mate. But Zach Fisher spewing on the man. I know that you said get off him. No good.
Yeah, I traded him for Caldwell when he was 500K.
That's a good trade, mate. That is a very, very nice trade. Yeah, well done.
How much is Fisher at the moment? Like, are you able to play with a bit of money or not really?
I've got around the 500K mark. So it feels like I'm just like 5K away from someone 3K away. I'm just that really, really awkward price range, mate. But look, it is what it is. You make your decisions during the year and got to live and die by them, don't you, mate?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I could have got Dunkley in at some point. I traded at Jack Steele just before he started to have the Marvel run, and now he's decided he's going to start pumping out 120s. Just like the guy that I traded him to, Ed Richards, did a 146 on the weekend last week.
Big Eddie Richards. I'll tell you, he's a nice pod down back, isn't he, mate? A very nice pod down back.
Yeah. Just the DPP flexibility as well. I think that's something that people don't really rate. And it's something that definitely has saved me quite a lot. Like, if Zach Reed had DPP, I think life would be perfect because I could move a Humphreys around and things like that. But at least at the moment, I've got coverage if, like, 2 or 3 of my backline defenders go out. And the way that people are playing, I mean, last week there was scares that Houston was going to be out. This week there's scares that Sheathel might be out, but I think he's just being rested. It's pretty crazy. Like 5 weeks to go. It doesn't feel like 5 weeks to go. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I know I was panicking last week, and hey, we're going to take a look at the team sheets when they come out, but a few players that are under a little bit of duress, even your Doggers and your Caldwells from last week. There's still, Rosie, a little bit sore, I believe, as well. I'm someone with Gawn, Elliot Yeo. Do all these guys come back? It's going to be a little bit of a nervous wait for me because, as I was saying in our potty, I just want to field all my 22 premiums. Just give me 1 week now that I'm full primo. Be able to field them. It's so frustrating, mate, when you got injury, you're just plugging holes still. It's like, come on, let me get my optimum team up on the park and let me enjoy this rather than stressing over bloody injuries. But it is what it is, mate, this time of year. Always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think that was the same for me too, maybe 3 weeks ago. The week before I finally got full primo and then Gawn decided to be injured. Zach Fisher was injured the week before, and it was just like, mate, like you say, at some point, like having 23 primos isn't enough. I mean, we've been saved this year with the amount of rookies I think that have got to 400K. And still even now, like I've got Evans, he's 300K. If you had Dowling, he's now 280. Like, in a couple of weeks, DR, if I had 2 trades left, I could get 24 primos in my team.
It is unbelievable, isn't it? And Darling, hats off to the man. I know that lots and lots of people have him. Lots of people have been using him as coverage and on well. So shout out to the man. He has had a really, really solid last few weeks when we've really needed him, when lots of people really need him. So, yeah, one of my favourites now, Billy Darling. A lot of credit to the man. He saved me, I tell you what, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that F6 position, I know a lot of people have had, like yourself, had Luke Jackson move to the ruck line, saved Max Gawn being out, and then it's like, oh, well, I don't even have to fill the rookie. I've got some primo that was 123K a few weeks ago covering the position.
That's it, mate. That's it. It's always very handy, and DPP is always crucial as well. That's why I always say to people with your last upgrades or those luxury ones, or if you're looking for that 24 type man, always try to get someone with DPP that can always cover multiple lines. I think that's really important, mate. Look, always don't let it make your decision, but definitely take it into consideration anyway. It's so much more of a bonus if you can loop between two lines. It'll save you from a bit of carnage, I reckon, mate.
Talking about loops, I mean, we'll get into some of these questions soon. I'm almost home and I can jump on the computer and do stuff from there. But yeah, talking about primos, bloody Logan, is it Logan Evans or Lockie Evans? The guy from Port Adelaide is outscoring my primo in Dan Houston. I think it's been 3 or 4 out of the 5 weeks that I've owned the player, and he's ended up outscoring him. I don't know what's going on.
It's amazing, isn't it? You got Humphreys, Evans, and these type of guys, and I'm sitting there with a Bailey Dale trying to just scratch 100 out here. It's like, come on, Bailey, get to triple figures. Look at what these other people are doing. Pull your finger
it's a bit
out,
silly.
mate. So it's just the way I describe the season in many ways is very unpredictable. You know, just things like the Rao drop off at the time when you were paying. I didn't go there personally. If you paid up from him at the time, you were. I would have been absolutely thinking myself, if I had the cash and all the rest, I'm getting a really quality uber elite premium in here. Just lock in this wonderful average and you just want him in your side. And all of a sudden, look at this man. He's in the absolute graveyard. People are falling over themselves in their last trade like Spilsy to move him on to Rosie. It's just, And then you look at the tags, like you're expecting a tag. It doesn't happen. You're not expecting a tag. It does. You can't rely on too many blokes anymore, can you? Like, remember the days of Gary Ablett Jr., where we just locked him in as our captain, vice captain, probably with Pendles each week. You knew you're going to be safe with one of those scores. Now I'll tell you what, it's a bit of a lottery, I reckon, at times, mate. So
100%. Or you end up with games last week where Neil and Dunkley score like 60s, and you paid 600 plus K for both of them, and they end up scoring 60. I'm like, mate. Where's my primo? I mean, I was lucky I didn't have any of them, but people are complaining where's their primos, right? What happened, DR?
Well, I'll tell you, mate, like
they went on holiday.
Poor old jockey. He's got Luke Parker and Taylor Adams roughing him up, though, here and then. Like, he just couldn't really get near. He'd had, I think, one decent quarter. But apart from that, just wasn't really his game, mate. But they did put a lot of attention onto him as well. Dunks, I'm really not too sure. You normally rely on his tackling as an ultimate floor there, and then the possessions on top of that, contested and all the rest. That's where he does his best work. But, just down on the numbers. So it goes to show, though, you look at Hugh McCluggage. He kicked a couple in a row for us. He got off the chain a little bit there, played a really good game. So, who do you really try to nail down? It is probably Lockie Neal, but,
every week you take
Neal. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. We were talking off air about scores in SuperCoach and whatnot. You know what I did last week? I halved my ranking. Like, legitimately, you have one good week, and then everyone else has a bad week, and then you end up halving your ranking. I mean, I wasn't ranked hugely high, but I went from about 3,400 to 1,700 in a single week. And now I'm about 180 points away from top 1K, which is pretty achievable, really.
Absolutely, mate. Like, it's a popular top 1% captain that fails, for example, and you really, really nail maybe a pod somewhere here and there. It's the fact that you've got cover as well. You're not really dealing with injuries at the moment. That's going to play a big part. Lots of people know trades at the moment. If you get injuries to uber elites, then
Yep.
you're going to start to get in a fair bit of trouble, I think, unless you've got your Manners, your Dowlings, these type of your Humphreys that are going to continue to perform. And I think the dangerous thing is relying on these folks to continue to play the way they are, because I just don't know if it's sustainable. We're not talking about premium type players here. They are rookies at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think if you've got a solid 23rd, a really solid 23rd, you've got a massive, massive leg up, regardless if you've got many trades or not. But if you've got a couple up your sleeve, I think that's going to be a real bonus in the run home anyway, mate.
Yeah, I feel pretty bad for all those people that had Max Scorn and then have now traded him to a TDK or a Nan Curvis last week because, TDK had an okay game and then got injured, and then Nan Curvis didn't really have a great game, has been injured as well. So those things, I mean, during the season, they really compound. But when you've got 2 or 3 trades left and you're going injury trade to injury trade, you're not doing much, are you?
Oh, no, exactly right. My best mate, Brent, he brought in Nank for Gorn and he's spewing. He's captained him 2 weeks in a row, 108, he was saying, and whatever he got 50-odd last week. He is absolutely bleeding, the poor fella, at the moment. So it's super unlucky because there was so many positive signs with Nank. Look, his 3-5 round average, his run home, his drive home, we'll say for this particular video, it was all looking really, really good. He was a pod, a player that could really up you in the ranks if you're looking to make a bit of a move, and then it just falls into a bit of a heap within a couple of weeks. It's we're talking also, what's the percentage in SUPERCOACH when it comes to skill versus luck? And I don't think this is a skill issue, the Nank trading. It's a luck issue. And you can't beat yourself up too much about it if you're someone that did go on to a Nank, for example, because it was a great move. It didn't end up being a great move, but at the time, all the data suggested that was going to be really, really solid. In form, as I said, 3-5 round average. It's just unlucky, mate. And this is the game that we play, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true, right? I almost feel, though, like, to counteract that, I mean, it's probably not the right thing to say, but the really skillful players didn't bring him in because he was like a super pod that had really never done it before and, maybe had picked up a Cherry or someone else instead. You know what I mean?
Go a bit safer, bit cheaper. Don't go all out.
Yeah. I mean, I was very unlucky. Well, lucky and very unlucky to the fact that I didn't actually have enough money to get TDK or Nank in. Both were over 610, and I only had 610. So Cherry was my pick. I mean, being the North Melbourne fan I am, was nice to get Cherry in anyway. But I was kind of saved by the fact that I didn't have enough money, which was hilarious in the long run.
Yeah, you think that those people that had more cash in the bank would be safer. But at the end of the day, mate, your hand was forced in a small way, and it looks like you've come out with the goods for now. And but really, solid decision, solid player. It wasn't like we were hoping for a bit of lucky with Sherry. We pretty much knew what you were getting into, and it was it's all looking good at the moment, mate. So very nice trading by you, Big J. Very nice, mate. One of your boys too, which makes you enjoy the pick even more.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of the big thing. I mean, I don't know if you're up to date with the stats or not at the moment, but Cherry's currently, I think he's 4th in the AFL for tackles. So when you've got a player like that at the moment, he's a ruckman. The ceiling's definitely there. Mate, it's bananas, DR. How are you 4th for tackles when you're a ruckman? Like, come on, mate.
It is nuts, isn't it? Like I didn't see this. I thought that he might be, a decent starting pick where you just look to upgrade and treat him as like that mid-price sort of stepping stone type. But I think back to when St Kilda offered I don't know, pick something for him. It wasn't much, was it?
No,
no. I think most people are expecting, just get rid of him, come on, why are you keeping on to him? But very, very good call by your boys there, mate, to hold on to him and not just let him go for nothing.
It was pretty crazy story because we'll jump into the comments now, but we wanted to get rid of him. We said, cool, you want to go, you can go. But we wanted a 2nd rounder, and St Kilda only wanted to give us a 3rd rounder.
So they could have still got him for a 2nd rounder.
Yeah,
damn, it's worked out well.
The trade was trading him in for a 2nd rounder, St Kilda didn't want to pay us a second round. They only wanted to pay a third round. And hey, we kept Cherry. He's doing very well.
Beautiful. Good call, mate. Very good call. Geez, there are a lot of comments.
Yeah.
Aren't they here?
Charles saying here,
go.
hello, gents. How you doing? Needs help with the VCC this week. I mean, I'm a bit like Charles as well. Last week had the C on Nank. This week, Dunkley into Sarong. What do you reckon?
Dunkley playing Gold Coast. Well, last time Dunkley did a bit of a job on Matt Rao, and we were talking that we think this is almost like the downfall of Rao. Dunkley kept him really, really quiet. Not long after that, absolute free fall for Matty Rao. So they may possibly look to do that again. It depends if maybe Berry goes with an Anderson, but I think it's most likely that Dunkley will do that, and his tackling numbers should be up. So I don't mind Dunkley. Sarong, apart from last week, hasn't been in terrific form, but if you're thinking back that up at home again, avoid the tag, then I think that's okay. But to be quite honest, mate, I'm at the point now where I'm seriously looking to take 110s, 115s because I've been butchering it lately. So my threshold's going right down for my captains and my vice captains. And then I'm thinking, does it bring someone like a Sam Flanders into contention? Just knowing he's on this ton run, just go really, really safe. So I'm not looking, to complain with a 120 or 110, 115 the way I've been going. So probably not the right person to ask on this one. Sorry, brother. But I don't mind the look of it anyway.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me as well. I mean, I don't know if you've kept up with our streams and whatnot, but I've had 4 weeks in a row of scoring like 90s in my captain. And a couple of those weeks of like my vice captain scored 108, 110. And I'm like, nah, I won't pick that. I'll go for the better player because other people have already cashed in. And, I just got stuck. It sucks so much. Last week went Merritt, had a 108, and then I went Butters instead. And it didn't work out great for me. So, yeah, 100% agree, DR. It's really one of those things like, I don't know what it is. If you look at the scoring, some players have been scoring well. Some rookies have been outscoring the premiums, but you can lock in a 110 or even a 120. If we had said this at the start of the season, people would have told you to get stuffed. Now
Absolutely.
It's like, we need this right now because we're in big trouble otherwise.
Absolutely, mate. We're getting desperate. So, I wouldn't be greedy, people. That's the main message. Don't be greedy with your captain, with your vice captain in particular. Yeah,
Travis, thanks, Trav.
Trav,
saying,
good line,
DR,
well.
Joe, Loki at Neil versus, VC into Sarong. Not too bad. If you were laughing last week, you'd be very, very happy with it. Adam's here. Supercoach is over. Just here for the vibes. We're here for the vibes too. Bit of a question before we get through the rest of the comments here, DR. Are you looking to play AFLW fantasy this year? Because I know it should be starting up soon.
Absolutely will, mate. Absolutely will. I'll be the first to admit that I don't know a lot of AFLW players. I follow Brisbane, but I'm not hugely into it, mate. But I'm hoping that, I enjoyed a little bit more actually playing AFLW fantasy. And one thing that George has mentioned the other night when we had him on was the fact that it's actually good practice as well. And you can maybe try out a few different things and see how that works. And actually, it's like a bit of pre-season for Supercoach in a way. I know it's different comp and different rules, all the rest, but just, there's particular rules and structures that you do go with different fantasy games. And I think it'll be good for improving people's Supercoach skills anyway. So I'm definitely going to give it a crack, I reckon, mate.
Well, I did finish, I think it was ranked 39 out of everybody. So if you need someone on to talk some players or strategy, hit me up if you want.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Jonas saying here, before I start talking, do you know Jonas? We've met Jonas in real life, and I can kind of see what Jonas is saying. Thanks for putting up a quality show every week, mate. Thanks for jumping on, and it's something that's pretty underrated. I mean, the Monday stream and the Thursday stream, yes, Supercoach is finished for a few of us, but just the community we've kind of built has been fantastic. So, bloody amazing.
Absolutely.
There. Adam agrees. Hey, lads, gee whiz, never felt more nervous for a Q clash, DR. How are you feeling this week?
Mate, our key defenders, where are they gone? Do they?
Well, I mean, there's no Tuke Miller
Andrews,
playing, so
Payne, Joyce. Come on, what's going on? So there's talk that Hippie may be playing down there. That makes me nervous, but hey, we'll see what happens. even talk of Joe Danaher, I don't see that happening myself. People have said Darcy Fort. I don't see that happening, but I really don't know. I really don't know. Fags has said, look, we're not going to panic. Like, we'll just go in and we'll make a couple of changes here and there. Maybe a Jackson Pryor comes in, but they should play a tall forward line on us to try to expose us, or at least carry that extra tall, I would believe. But yeah, it'll be interesting, mate. See if we can knock them off at home. I think last time we played them there, we had a 40-odd point loss, I think it was. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how we go, H. But no, I've got faith, mate. After knocking over the ladder leaders last week, albeit a bit of injury carnage for them, I understand that, and things went in their favour a little bit. I reckon we'll be on this week, mate. Big brother.
Yeah,
I
might even go, as you said before, I might even go Flanders VC just for a bit of difference. I think the ball's going to be down there and lock in something early, I reckon. Jonas Go Daddy in the house. There you go. Corey's asking here. I mean, big fan of your channel, been on. Definitely the same.
Great man, ladies, man.
Who are we picking it for 601 KDR in the midfield?
601. Are you on Corsa or?
I can't even check the prices of players because I have no trades. So this might be up to you.
Oh, really? So you don't even have any trades.
I can search players by name, but I don't think I can actually check.
I didn't even realize that was a thing. So it's under what, 610, is it?
Yeah, under 601.
Oh, so 600. So I don't know if you've got the Schlong Corsa in Caleb Sarong, but is it 534? Looking okay. Zachy Merritt still under that. Yep. Errol Goulden, I don't mind. A bit of Errol, I think. Looking at this Corsa, I don't mind Errol Goulden. I don't think you've got Errol, mate. So my recommendation, if I know your team well enough, my friend, is to go Errol Goulden. That would be my bet for your particular team, ladies, man. Hope you're well, mate.
Yeah, crazy. I look at like the price of Raul. Give me a sec. And 421k DR. Boy, oh boy. I mean, I think people were very happy that they could get him at 500k, and then he went up, and people jumped on him at Matt's price. But I don't even know if I'm going to start this guy next year. Like, that's kind of how I'm feeling about this price at the moment.
Oh, it's just amazing, mate. You wouldn't believe it. I feel sorry for people that paid up for him. It's been a train wreck, season changer, really.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few of them. I think Jack Steele for me as well, and a few of these other guys picked them up expensive, and they've just kind of fallen off. Sean saying here, g'day DR and Big J. How you doing, Sean?
Morning. How are you, man?
Velo, same thing. G'day, guys. Hopefully we have more luck this week.
On your Velo.
We were talking about the difference in scoring this week, DR. I thought I did well. Some people scored 2,660 or something. Hey, how did I outscore you by 300 points last week?
Oh, mate. As I said, the holding of Gorn, with Fisher on field, things like this. It was one of those weeks where I thought, I'm gonna take a hit this week, but I'm gonna play conservative and just keep onto those two trades rather than just get Yo out if he's back. It was listed as soreness, so I assumed he'd be back this week. I thought, having two in the bank could be really beneficial if there's ultimate carnage, resting late, whatever it is. I valued having those two trades up my sleeve more than I did having a bit of a bad week this week. So fingers crossed it wasn't too conservative, mate, because someone like Abs would have absolutely sent it. But, different styles, mate. We'll see how things work out, mate.
100%. I mean, as long as you don't end up with one boost at the end of the season, we'll be okay.
Oh, last year.
no more boosts left.
There we go. Bang, bang. DR, come on. Boom.
Michael saying, hey, guys, love the green fields for the drive. Yeah, there you go.
Good on you, Mike. Hey, man.
Reed and Dawson clogging up so many defensive benches. Yeah, like Reed being one of those players, I don't know about yourself, but there was a point in the season where I had 3 trades to spend. I wasn't going to go crazy and try and upgrade players and burn the bank, as you say. I actually offloaded 3 players from my bench. I got rid of Biggie Newen. Who else did I get rid of? I think I got rid of Garcia, and then there was another player. And just doing that allowed me to gain Evans and Humphreys, and I think maybe Dowling as well. And these players, I mean, if you had Caulfield the whole season, you'd be happy. Maybe a Manor as well. Yeah. Like, finally now he's actually scoring. But bloody Zach Reed. I tell you what, have you got any of these players like left in your team?
I've had Zach Reed the whole time, mate. The
Me
whole
too.
time. And then remember he was coming back. It's like he played in the Reds. It's like, yes, we're finally going to get him here. Because I think originally the timeline for injury was less than Nick Caulfield's. And so I had Caulfield as well. I had Gipkiss. Like it was just, carnage me down back early on. So I actually traded out Caulfield over Reed. I had Marty Hoare as well. He was another one I had. Like I've had some carnage down back this year, and so with Reed, I thought no, and just hoped he'd come back. But by the time news came through that he hadn't, it was like, well, he's pretty much just stuck there, and that's why Will Dawson and Sam Fisher. That's again still why I've held on to Fisher, mate, because he's my only defensive coverage because I've got Dawson down back there with Zach Reed. So the decision now is do I just get Fisher down back, Dawson forward, and just get Colt McKercher in for him. Maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of
see what happens, man. But don't know.
I don't know about McKercher too. He's
I
think he's going to be a selection for next year, but like 50-50 on the scoring, really.
Yeah, it's a good point, mate.
It happens. Sheasel, apparently they were testing him on the track. Yeah, I think Clarko came out and basically said, he's fine. So I don't have to worry about that too much.
That's good news.
She's dog into Maximus Gawn for me. Now, you hope Max Gawn plays. I know there was some footage during the week of Max Gawn taking some drills and whatnot and looking a bit rusty is probably the fair word. I don't know if you've seen those.
Yeah, was that when they had the pad up and he's sort of going up on the... Yeah, I did see that, mate. It didn't look like he was really going freely, did it? But
no, it didn't.
Yeah.
I hope he's back because a lot of people have Kruger and Kruger got out and that kind of contributed to a lot of people's poor scores as well.
Yeah.
If Kruger's out plus Max Gawn DR.
Mate, for those with there wouldn't be too many people with Max and Nank, would they? Because lots of the Nanks would come on for Max. So that's you probably wouldn't be that unlucky. But for the maybe 2 or 3 say that are out there, Big J, that's could be carnage.
Yeah, definitely. Half of the Sydney and Brisbane boys, it seems, were hobbling around to the end of the game on the weekend alongside Dawson, Caldwell. Mate, it really feels that way, doesn't it, Kai? Some of these players, I think some people even had 6 people out last week, DR. You kind of dodged it a little bit, but had 1 or 2. I saw some people with Rankin in the forward line, with Fisher kind of in and out of their team. Caldwell's in there too. They had Dawson and a few of these other players. Kind of sucks.
I think you hit on the head. Lots of little niggles at this stage and just little question marks over particular players. We were just not quite sure. You've got to remember, it's a tough game to play. Playing footy for a long time as a pretty slim bloke myself, the knocks, and you don't imagine the way these guys go at it. So, when we get to round 20, there's some sore boys out there. So, that's just what we've got to expect at this time of year. And then it comes down to trades and coverage. If you've got good trades and even better good coverage, then you should be right for the carnage. If you haven't, life can be tough, Supercoach wise.
Jonas is saying here, my 21 and 22 players are Clary and Fishpoo, 23 and 24 are Manor and Dowling. So at least you've got 2 primos out of there. The good thing is, at least with Oliver, right, with all this talk of him being traded to Adelaide or wanting to leave, things like that, his scoring the last couple of weeks haven't been terrible. I mean, like he scored an 80 on the weekend, but I think before that, the week before, scored another 100. So kind of repaying the people. Melbourne's just in a poor way, really. What do you reckon?
Oh, it's tough. I bought into Clary and then traded him out after that 32, I'm going to say it was, or really low 30 game. I just had enough and had trades to be able to do it and upgrade. So, but look, the question here is with someone like a Fisher, who would you actually prefer to field? Manor, Dowling or Fisher? Well, it's not just as easy as going, well, Fisher's on field. I don't think, particularly after last week. You're the North Melbourne man here, mate. But I know a lot of people like myself would just love to know what the plans for Fisher are. Will he actually we'll find out hopefully soon. Will he actually be selected? Will he start as a sub, come off as a sub? Will he be omitted completely? I've got no idea. I wouldn't be surprised to see either of those 4 scenarios actually happen, personally.
Yeah.
From the outside looking in, this is.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? Fisher's just a bit tricky, and I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I think North Melbourne's trying to shore up what's happening with their half-back line. McCurch is coming in, is taking a lot of the kick-outs, doing things like that. I mean, poor kid got tagged on the weekend and still scored a 94. So, yeah. And he gave away 3 free kicks and 5 clangers, and he still got a 94. So, yeah, it's what can you do, really? It's Fisher, I think his poor disposal efficiency have killed him. That's partly why I jumped off, because I knew I think he had the one bad game and then got dropped for McCurcher when he was back. And that's kind of why I jumped off Caldwell when I did. Jumped onto Caldwell. So, yeah. If you have a trade and you can, the big thing is, right, if you can get someone decent for him, probably worth doing the trade depending on if he's named or not this week. The reason why I would have 2 trades is so I could go 1 up, 1 down. Like at this point, that's what it would be. So if you spend 1 trade to go Fisher to someone, fantastic. And then you just relegate yourself to the fact that, cool, whoever's injured this week or in the next 5 weeks, I just need to go and pick someone else that at his price. So if all you guys are around the mark, fantastic, you're okay. That's kind of where you're at. Yeah. Jack saying here, have Salem out, 1 trade left, only 407K. Who could he get, DR? 407K. Oh boy, I don't even know. You know what I would do, to be honest? If you don't have Logan Evans, Glenn, so Jack, I would get Logan Evans. That's who I would be getting. If you've got the money.
The way he's been scoring.
Yeah. I mean, like the way he's going, the guy's pumping out primo level scores and he's 283K. I almost want him to stop so I can pick him up in SUPERCOACH next year. Because this guy's gone bananas, DR.
Yeah. It's funny, when I was quickly looking at the players here, I was going to say Salem. I look back at the question, I'm like, Salem's one that's actually out there. Underneath him, there's not, fantastic options, mate. So maybe you do look to go all the way down. The he needs defensive and mid. I was going to say the ultimate, there's no way I'd ever recommend this. Dion Prestia at 391 who played this week, then ping something. Geez, is Cogs all the way down at 388,100?
Yep. He's had a shocking few weeks and then been in and out with injuries and whatnot. Yeah, it feels like 4 years ago when he was 280K in our forward lines, right?
That is amazing. Sam Berry, probably not. Matty Crouch potentially coming back.
I reckon Evans from Freo. Pick him up.
Yeah,
the good one,
you know what?
The good one, not the rookie one. I mean, they're both rookies, but you know what I mean. I think you'd be very happy.
Yeah, I'd have to keep searching for a diamond in the rough, but that's tough. Maybe Evans, as you said, mate.
DR, do you ever leave the podcasting bedroom?
It's funny. This is my son's bedroom, actually, because it's a long story there, but all the rest, right? But this is my son's bedroom, right? So he's always getting kicked out and he's getting quite annoyed. So in the off season, I've said, all right, let me just get through this year, mate. And in the off season, I've actually had like a really, really generous offer. An old mate who I used to play footy with, always used to get the best and fairest and knock me down the second. So many years, this bloke. But one of my old mates, and he's actually got a proper podcasting room with the fancy lights and the cameras and all this sort of stuff. So depending on how things work out, maybe very, very much upgrading, because the son is getting extremely annoyed at me. So this is not my bedroom or my stuff. It's like, it's the son. So whatever you see back here, I'm not responsible for the decor in here. You should see to the side here. Wow. I wouldn't even.
He's got all these Legos or something set up.
Growing over there.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's earrings and piercings and all this rubbish, mate. But anyway, mate, I do leave sometimes and spend time with the family.
There you go. Now we are joined by number 3 of the crew. How you doing, Joe? You're kind of giving voice to the word of the drive home, aren't you?
G'day, guys. G'day, DR, mate. You're talking about a better setup. Can you give me a better setup than being in the car? Seriously, like a little bit of indicator action, a little bit of, high speed chases, mate. There's nothing better.
Oh, here we go. Some indicator ASMR, is it? So, there we go. Very nice, mate. Very nice.
Thanks for coming on, bro. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, no, good, mate. Good. And I hope you are too, mate. Always lovely to see your beautiful face, mate. And looking forward to seeing them with you legends. I'm always tuning in, obviously, when I've got the time. But finally good to actually be on, mate. Good to connect again, brother.
100%. So it's been a crazy day for me here at the office. Leaving a little bit later than normal, but it's a good thing. The community that we've got here is so understanding, and all of us coming out to help each other. It's been a long season. There's a few more weeks to go, but we're still enjoying it every step of the way. So thanks again, mate.
No, absolutely anytime, mate. It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah. Kai's saying here, I had Nank in both of my videos on the Friday on the first Gone injury week, and then end up going with English. So, yeah, thank you for English. I really hope that Tristan Cherry is going to continue on with what English did with the Geelong Rucks, because, mate, Cherry going 180 would be very, very happy right now.
You'd love that, wouldn't you, mate? You'd love that.
100%. G'day, lads. There you go. Wooden Spoon data. Yep, DR's here, mate. Should be a lot of fun when the team sheets drop.
How are you, man?
Hi, guys. Goulden C into Dacos VC. I guess that's the other way around, isn't it?
Other way, I think.
Yeah. How do we feel about Dacos versus Richmond? I mean, a lot of us had jumped on. Who did they play last week? Give me 1 second.
Butters.
Yeah. A lot of us have jumped on Butters for not a great score. Do we feel like Dacos is going to do the same thing this week? Or Dacos is going to be an okay pick? Because Richmond aren't that much of a pushover, as kind of their ladder prediction says.
It's
true. But I think there was a problem with Butters and his time on ground last week, and we really wanted to give Ken Hinkley the good old fashioned rocket. Keep your best player on the park, mate. What is this bench TPP? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to have we don't want to have bench cover here in Zach Butters, mate. Give us a good captain score, and unfortunately, we didn't get it. So, stuff you, Ken. Hopefully, you're coaching West Coast next year, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buggy you, Ken.
I don't know if you guys have seen any of the news that have come out so far, but Carlton's been reprimanded for their Harry Mackay concussion issues. Apparently, the AFL have said, yes, he should have been taken off, but the other doctors that were on field were dealing with other people's injuries. So it kind of slipped through the cracks there a little bit. Everyone's got to scum North Melbourne, I guess. Travis is saying here, Berry played on Berry played on Rowell DR, and it wasn't Dunkley that game.
Was it?
Apparently.
That's what it was Dunkley. Oh, I'll take your word for it, Trav. Good pick up, mate.
Global saying here, now I've got to get your guys' opinion on this, right? Every year has been every year has been Gawn and Grundy. Are we picking Cherry next year, depending on price?
We were having.
I wanted to pick him this year.
Yeah, that's true. Joe wanted to. I talked Joe out of it. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, look, he's definitely going to be in consideration. I'll say that much.
Yep.
Definitely got to be in consideration.
You're going to pick him, Joe?
I think his injury. I think I'll track his pre-season. He has had a bit of injury concern, and that was the reason why we didn't end up going ahead with him last year. But he will absolutely be in consideration for sure. Also, I guess depends on whether the LDUs of the world are going to stick around. You know what I mean? If he's going, then that's one less person to get a head out to advantage from, right? So I think right now, though, he's in firm consideration for sure.
Yeah, 100% for me as well. I mean, next year, I've said it before, but next year I think might be the first year, DR, when we're actively picking 3 or 4 North Melbourne players to keep the whole season. I don't think that's ever happened since I've been playing Supercoach, mate. It's always been, bottom of the ladder, let's grab the crappy rookie. It's going to make us some money. Now we're going to pick Sheasel. We're going to start him. Potentially LDU or Warlaw in the middle. And then Cherry and maybe even McKercher as well, depending on price. Like, You're not going to pass up a 400k McKercher at the start of the season, are you?
Well, it could be some very popular picks. The only one I can really think of that I sort of selected year in, year out for a few years was Goldie. He was a bit of an auto pick for me for a few years. But apart from that, unless I'm missing someone really, really obvious, I don't think there was
Jack
anyone.
Siebel for a couple of years.
Zeebs. Yeah, Zeebs I've had for a few years here and there. Yep. He's a good call, mate. But yeah, there's not a heap that sort of stick out in my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year, I guess. As the team gets better, more people are going to pick North Melbourne's, and just something nice,
That's
talking good stuff about us. Dan, I know you know Big Dan.
Hey,
he's
wait,
going to
brother.
go Sheasel VC into Sarong this week. I know some people are talking about going Cherry VC. I could go Cherry or Flanders, I reckon, for something a bit different. Geelong give up so many points to Ruckman. Tell you what, it's crazy.
He knows he's Freo boys, so if you like Sarong, mate.
Jamar the Stats Man. I don't know if have we seen Jamar the Stats Man before, Joe?
Yes, I think we have. Recently, last week, I think was the first time. But regardless, welcome, Jamar.
Jamar's saying here, DR, I know we spoke about it a little bit, but how's Brisbane's going to go with all the defenders out? What's your prediction for this game?
Well, surely they've got to play the land of the Giants up forward to try to expose it. Look, I'll be honest, it scares me. You look at their record at home. But look, Brisbane, they're the informed team in the comp. I'm sure we've got the longest winning streak out of any team in the comp at the moment. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? I'm still going to back us if I was to tip someone, but I think a bit will have to go our way. It comes down the midfield as well. Like, how many inside 50s are they going to get? A lot of that starts in the midfield. So if we can really get on top in the midfield and limit those entries and quick transitions, then I think we should be okay. But yeah, I'm definitely not going in overly confident.
Yeah, I think you guys definitely have them in the midfield battle itself. Just no Took Miller and probably no Witts again this week. Like, you've kind of got those guys out of there. The good thing about Gold Coast is, yes, some of their young kids are coming through, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, your forward line, as long as you keep the ball out of the defensive 50, you'll be okay.
That's it.
Is Starcevic going to play this week?
I believe he's right, mate. Yeah, so I think he missed last week.
You'll be fine then. You'll be fine.
Yep. And young Shadow Brain, he's definitely in his spot back there after his efforts last week. Wrapped with him. Wrapped.
I'm tipping you boys. I'm tipping the Lions to win. They are the Fraud Coast Suns. I am 100% confident. You guys are going to win.
I love it, Joey. There we go, mate. Lock her in.
Because people keep saying that Gold Coast can't keep losing away from home. Well, they can't keep winning at home as well. So I think they're bound to lose one. And if there's anyone they're going to lose to, it'll be a fellow Queensland team. I reckon the Lions, mate. Joey Danaher, Judas Danaher, going to pull out a masterclass on the weekend.
I love that, Judas Danaher. That is gold. I hope you're right,
mate. Yeah. Corey's going to talk some AFLW with us when the season's open. I don't know what's happening with AFLW. I mean, all the clubs at the moment have started to have their this is the announcement for the season, blah blah blah, and the game's not even open yet, guys. We've got like a month. We've got a month before the season starts. Give us the game already. Tell you what. Don't know if it's been talked about already, but LDU a sneaky VC option, or is She's the best option? Look, I like Sheasel. Sheasel's always around the ball, unless they're going to try and tag him somehow. I quite like him. And from memory, Geelong give up a lot of points to opposition midfielders. And that's kind of where Sheasel's been playing the last couple of weeks, right?
Yep. I think for me, ultimately, I'm most concerned about the tag, like an O'Connor run with, for example, whereas LDU is probably a bit harder of a I don't know. Would Geelong tag him with maybe a Blixarves type? That's probably the only person I could think of that could go head to head with LDU.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Cherry going big this week. That's why I'm considering the VC on him. Suitcase is a pod. There you go. And what's happening with Abs? I'm not sure what's been happening with Abs so much. I think the last couple of weeks, like his scoring and his rankings been dropping a bit. And I don't know if that's affecting staff or if he's got personal things going on. But I'm not sure if you guys have heard anything from him in terms of content. But yeah.
No, I know he's a busy man. He's a very, very busy man. And but I tell you what, his season has been phenomenal. And that's why we love Abs, is because you know that he's someone. He sticks. He just goes differently from the crowd. He doesn't care what anyone thinks. He'll pick his own plays, and he's always got really good reasoning. The method behind the madness always makes sense to me anyway. And we're very different players, the way that we approach the game. But look at his ranking. Look what he's done this year. And hey, if he starts to fall a little bit, well, as he says, you go hard or you go home. You know, top 10 or nothing. And he got to top 100. And so, probably won't get a top 100 rank this year with the way things are tracking. But still, he's just such a lovely bloke, an entertaining guy. And, always have my full support, the great man anyway.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, I flicked him the odd question here and there throughout the season, and he's always been pretty welcoming and whatnot with that. So, yeah, hopefully he's doing all right. Let me see. Cool. Who's everyone's locked-in team for next season? I guess kind of let's pick 2 players each that we're automatically going to chuck in our team regardless of price. Have you got anyone, DR, that you've been thinking about for next year?
Oh, one's easy, and that's the Bond. I'm just no mucking around. I'm just paying up. He's the one bloke that you can just, rely on. And look, he lost a little bit of coin this week. Sorry, not this week, this season. But still, you look at his fluctuations. I'm just, you pay up for Bond. And I think the other bloke is probably Nick Dacos, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that, and look, you could call it safe, but we forget that this bloke's in his 3rd season of football. He's an absolute freak. And look, things haven't gone really well for Collingwood lately, but I just see him as such a dominant player for next decade. And as a midfielder only, I get that. I'll still be going with him, I think. So Bont and Dacos, and then that's probably it for the big dogs in the mid, I think. I'll be going a little bit value-wise after that at this stage.
Have you got anyone, Joe, that you're going to pick outside of what DR said?
My boy, Sexy Flanders. I love this guy. He just does not score under 100 points. He is up there with one of the most reliable players going around, and I was a big believer in him in the preseason, and he's definitely repaid the fave. So he's the one I'm definitely locking in. The other person I'm going to probably lock in is your boy Harry Sheasel, Jez.
You stole my player.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
I like him. I like him a lot. He's a very classy player, and he's so similar to Dacos that if you're going to pick Dacos, you might as well have 2 Dacoses in your team. Just add Sheasel to your team as well.
As a defender, he still have defensive status here?
Sheasel. I think it's going to be really confusing because the first part of the season he played backline with a tiny bit of mid, and then now has been playing mid like forward. So I don't know if they're going to make him mid forward or what it's going to be. He might be the first player that's got like 33% in each position. And what's Supercoach going to do then, really?
Or give him what you'd want him as a defender forward, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. If he's got forward status, you're locking in Sheasel for the rest of his career. I think for the next 10 years he's going to be the only player that we pick every season. That's it. His whole career. Ridiculous. Before we go into the teams, I think for me next year, depending on price, is going to be Luke Ryan and Houston in the backline. Every year I've never started these guys, and I always found myself wanting to bring them in. So depending on where Houston ends up next year, depending on Luke Ryan and kind of his price, I think both of them, I'm looking to stack the forward line and the back line next year and go cheap in the middle and just upgrade. And I think we're going to get a lot of guys capable of 100 plus every week around kind of the 550 mark, and it's going to make things a lot easier for us. Let's jump into some teams, because I know there's a couple of players. I had a sneaky look, DR. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Oh no, what that must be bad. Like, it must be. Is it?
All right, let's have a look. I'm going to refresh the screen so we can get it working. Cool.
Don't
all
do
right.
me over here.
I don't know if we can see this. Oh, this works better. Cool. Yeah. All right. So Carlton versus Port Adelaide. Now, what we've been doing, DR, I don't know if you do it on your channel, but we've been going through the game and then picking who we're going to win so we can do the tips. And then afterwards, we'll have a look at captaincy and things like that. So,
beautiful. Yep.
Kemp, McGovern, Pitnet in, obviously. Durden, Akers, and DeConning out. We know that DeConning and Akers is probably going to, they've been expected. Farrell is in for Port Adelaide, and Lockie Jones is in, with Dylan Williams out and Lord. I thought Williams was okay in the game, to be honest, but Kane Farrell in does not bode well for my Dan Houston pick. He always seems to come in and steal all the kickouts. So, we'll see what happens there. Who are you picking for this game, DR? Jordan
I'm going to go the Baggers. I'm going to go the Baggers, and I'll say by 23. I'll go the Baggers by 23 this game, mate.
You just think their forward line's going to be able to beat them, or the midfield's going to beat them, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking under the roof here, even though DeConning's out, Pitnet is that almost backup, if you want to call him that.
Yep.
It's a pretty decent backup to have, isn't it? You've seen what's happened to teams like Melbourne, and we still don't know what they're going to do without Max Gawn if he hasn't been named, which that would be carnage for me. But I just think that Carlton are the quality team out of the two at home under the roof. So I think they should win by 3 to 4 goals.
Yeah, no, I definitely have. I've got Carlton. I'm going to do my tips a bit later, but definitely, actually, let's put in my tips right now while we're here. 1 second. AFL. We're doing work tips at the moment, DR, and it's been an interesting season. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm a terrible tipper. Yeah, I'll go Brisbane every week, regardless. As
a North Melbourne fan, I can't do that, because if I do that, it's just like one loss every week. But apart from 2 games a season, it doesn't work. All right, let's just quickly refresh, make sure that the teams aren't messed up. Cool. Next one. I think the teams are all wonky, but that's okay. Freo versus West Coast. We got Draper out. Draper back in. So some people have got some coverage. Emmett's in. Pearce and Walters out. And then West Coast has a few people. So McGovern's back. You held McGovern. Waterman's back. Darling's back. And Elliot Yeo. I know a few people had him as a player.
Included. Right.
Let's have a bit of a look at the teams. Sean Darcy's still here. Jackson's still here. So Jackson's still playing. Fantastic. Nice. At least some of the good players are back for the Derby. It's probably the big thing, right? So it's going to be a competitive game. I assume you've got Freo, DR?
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
I assume you're picking Freo?
Yep, definitely going the Dockers here, mate. Look, I expect West Coast to be competitive. Look, there's some decent ins, aren't they?
Yep.
Probably 3 of their better players for the season. So I'm expecting West Coast to be competitive, not an absolute pushover, but I'll go Freo by, I'm going to say 6 goals, I'll say.
There you go. Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, Elliot Yeo does offer quite a lot, and he's back into the middle with Reed. So there is going to be a bit of competition there, but I don't think BJ Williams is going to stack up against Jackson and Sean Darcy, unfortunately. Oh, it's Joe. Maybe. What's up, Joe?
There he is.
Okay, cool. We've got your boys up next, DR. Barry Witts. Oh, Witts is back. Barry Witts and Malcolm Rosas. Walter Sexton's out for those people that have still got Sexton somehow. And Buderick's out. Your guys have Morris, Pryor, and McKenna back this week. So that's pretty good. Joyce, Harris Andrews, and Bruce Revel. So not a lot of people had him as coverage. Bruce Revel in the bin. What's happening, DR?
What? Chris Fagan, if you're watching, Chris, explain yourself. This man has not been able to contribute too much as the sub.
Yep.
And we're bringing Con McKenna into the side? Come on, give me a spell there, Chris. Logan Morris, like him back in. Jackson Pryor was one of the blokes that I thought may come in for going a little bit smaller. But yeah, not happy about no Bruce. He's one of my favourite players. Someone I look forward to watching. Even when I'm watching the lounge, I'll go with the Bruce. But that's disappointing. That is very, very disappointing. I don't own him.
Who's he been dropped for? Is it for Connor?
It's got to be, yeah. Well, Logan comes in as a tall, Jack O'Pryor, who will go on the back line, then Connor McKenna for Brucey. Yeah, it is. So,
so who are we picking?
I haven't rated McKenna's season.
You still going to go Brisbane?
Yeah, look, as I just said before,
and you have to.
if I go, I've gone with Brisbane. And since 2010, when we were, when Leper and Voss were coaching, mind you, that's how bad. But I'll go Brisbane by 3.
All right, Joe, who are you picking?
I love Logan Morris. I honestly love what I've seen from this kid. He's so good. Malcolm Rose is a welcome inclusion for the Suns, as is Wits.
Yeah.
Well, I can totally understand why people might tip the Suns, but I'm going to back in the better culture and the better form of the Lions.
Man, Joey.
And Danaher's apparently listed as a fullback.
Yeah,
so I don't know if you pick up on that. Danaher's playing intercept defender. Here we go.
It worked for Norton. Not Norton. It worked for Rory Lobb. So maybe it might work for Judith.
Well,
maybe.
There we go. There we go.
All right. Here we go. Max Gawn is back for everyone who's still got Max Gawn. There you go. Bailey Laurie and Woe Woden is in. Salem, Thorstrop, and Tom Sparrow out. So they haven't really swapped a ruckman around, have they? They've kind of just put Petty back into the forward line. GWS Sam Taylor makes his return. And then Isaac Cumming is out with injuries. It's Briggs versus Max Gawn. Hopefully he doesn't stand on his leg. Otherwise, Max Gawn's going to be out for a couple more weeks. Who are we picking here, guys?
I'm going the Giants. Oh,
yeah.
Yes, I'm going the Giants.
Going Giants.
I'm going the Giants. I'm going to stick with the Giants. I think it'll be a pretty competitive match, mind you. But I think the Giants in form, Melbourne a little bit over the shop at the moment.
No, that's
Maxi, who knows how he's going to come back. But one thing I'll just quickly mention, I'm surprised that Kynan Brown's sitting there in the emergencies rather than on the interchange, because what more can the man do? He'd be thinking, well, geez, I'll put in a pretty solid performance. What do I actually need to do to get a match here? It's not like they're absolutely smashing it all over the park, Melbourne, at the moment. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to give the young men and reward such a great effort. But yeah, I'm not the coach, but just surprising. Yeah, I was expecting him to come
maybe
in.
We're expecting a laid out from a Billings or someone, and then he'll jump back into the team. Who
maybe.
knows?
Yeah.
Brown needs 30 tackles, DR. 24 is not enough.
Yeah, well, that must be it, Kai. That must be it, mate.
He clearly doesn't have enough hit-outs either. He needs some hit-outs, Kynan Brown.
All right. So I'm going to say something before we go to this game. Before we go to this game, I'm going to say 3 things. Ankle issue, foot injury, and general soreness. I will say general soreness. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
No!
Both of them?
No!
Both of them?
I'm popping a donut in defense, lads.
If Fisher was... McKercher was coming in for Fisher maybe for all that trade done. Oh, Joe. Well, I'll just let you take over. Do we just sit here in silence, or I don't know.
Big J was talking up Kobe McKercher as someone that we're gonna. How can you not have Kobe McKercher in your team next year?
He scored like 100 last week, and he got tagged. What do you want?
You know what? Not only will Kobe McKercher not be in my team next year, he will never again be in my team.
That's a lie.
Kobe McKercher can get stuffed. He can honestly. I traded him out to trade him back. I traded him out because of injury. I trade him back in. I trade him back out because of injury. I trade him back in, and then he gets injured again. Kobe McKercher, I'm sorry, you are tissue paper. You have so much potential, but the problem is it causes you to become like I don't know what that Pokemon is, Ditto. His slime, I don't know what it is. Like, he can't maintain a physical structure to himself.
Yeah.
And I am never again going to have to go through this problem. Michael, you're lucky. I'm never, ever stuff it.
I guess that kind of answers your do I trade Zach Fisher?
Well, I was going to go to McKercher. I can't afford anyone.
That's true too.
Bloody hell. Like, I'm looking at blokes that are just, nah. What's happening in the world? They're both out. Like, I looked at McKercher first, and like, selfishly, I don't own him. I'm like, the fish stocks are rising. And then he's the next name there. But Karma for getting a little bit excited about a non-owner injury. Man.
Yeah. No, it kind of sucks. At least Humphreys still makes it. Manor still makes it. I almost want to pick Geelong, to be honest. I think no McKercher, not saying no McKercher, no team, but makes things a bit tougher for us, really. So who do you guys reckon? Are we picking Geelong just because North Melbourne?
Oh, sorry, Big J, but I would. Yeah. No offense, but Geelong, a top 4 spots up for grabs here. So I don't think they'll be taking you boys lightly. I don't think that anyone can take North lightly, because we've seen on their day they can, put on a really nice performance. But I think there's probably a little bit too much at stake for the Cats here, mate. So
Michael, we can't go fish. Fish is out, Michael. There's no fish. Fish is.
No, he hasn't had McKercher.
Oh, he hasn't had him. Yeah. He hasn't had him all year. There you go.
See, Michael,
Corey,
I would
another 3 weeks in a row. Yeah, cool. Good job, Corey.
Nah, but honestly, the Cats definitely going to win. They've dropped Brandon Parfitt, who is very far away from being a fit footballer. I don't think Brandon Parfitt.
I don't know why he played last week.
I think he's bang on an average footballer. It's always baffled me how someone of him could get so many games at Geelong, which is such a high quality side. I've always found it interesting how he just manages to find his way back into the team. I'm like, what's he doing? You guys have so many better players, and they've got one back in Tanner Bruin back from his injury. So sorry, Jez. This is definitely a Geelong win.
Yeah. No, that's who I picked too. Now, the timing of all the games being released hasn't been great. Kamanides playing off the foot injury. But ankle, I think it was. Liam Henry out, and then Essendon has Peter Wright back, apparently dropping him for a week. Didn't work out very well. So now that you've got him back in the team, Parrish makes his debut. It's his first game for the season, right, Joe? Is it his first game or no?
Nah, first game since round 9.
Okay, fair enough. And then the big vacuum, the Dyson Heppel is back. Nick Martin halfback, which is great for us because Jake Kelly is out. So Nick Martin halfback, Matt Guelphy, and then Goldstein's been omitted. Shock. I don't know why that happened, but yeah. Who are we picking, boys? St Kilda at home or Essendon at home?
Got to go with the Dons. Got to go with the Dons here after two weeks of a bit of a subpar performance. And Joey, I won't give him a belting, but I think you'll respond this week, mate. Surely the boys got to respond here. They'll, I think that Essendon will actually dominate this game. It might be a big call, but I'm going to say Essendon for one of the bigger wins of the round. I think against St Kilda, I reckon they'll come out with all guns blazing.
Hopefully my pod Nick Martin does well. I don't know how much of a pod he is, but quite nice to see Caldwell back, which is great. Velo's saying here, Joe, keeping Draper over Goldie is interesting. Is that interesting or just kind of what you expected?
No, I thought it was interesting that Goldie was named in the first place, Velo. Goldie, I'm not going to talk bad about him because that would just be very wrong to do. He's had a stellar career. He's absolutely deserving of a Hall of Fame berth. And what I'm saying about him has got nothing to do with him as a player, but just purely just because of his age. And he's just, at this point in time, he's just not able to give us much around the ground at all. As much as Draper can be a buffoon or a moron and can't kick goals from 10 meters out hitting the post, he still gives us some grunt work, and he does take some marks around the ground. Goldie took no marks on the weekend, had around 10 disposals for negative 12 meters. Negative 12 meters gained from Goldie. So I'm very happy he's at the club. Hopefully he can keep teaching Brian as well as I want to see Brian play for sure. Absolutely.
He's really at risk of he's really at risk of asking for a new a new home as well. I think Archie Roberts a little bit. Or is Archie Perkins playing? Who's Archie Roberts? Oh yeah, you've got Archie Perkins and Archie Roberts. A bit confusing, right?
Yeah, Archie Roberts has picked up over this preseason, and he's knocking the door down for selection. I'm surprised he hasn't been selected this week. I would have played him over Dyson Heppel, but I think the way the players, the defensive back six shut the bed last week, I think Brad Scott has seen that we really do need Heppel's experience and steady, cool, calm head when things get tough, for him to at least keep some composure. So it's it's an interesting spot. I really hope Parrish can give us some grunt work in the midfield. At least break even with the Saints, and then hopefully Nate Caddy and Langford and these boys actually kick their last quarter goals as opposed to getting them out on the full.
And Garcia keeps his spot, which is great. Moving on to the first of the Sunday games. Well, the first one that's shown because it's got all three. Chase Jones, Ball Lace, Taylor Walker, Daniel Curtin, who apparently this week at training was playing in the middle because I think Dawson's out. Josh Worrell and Ned McHenry, so obviously extended bench. Murray, Butts, and Jordan Dawson out. So 2 key defenders are gone. It's not great for them. And then over to Hawthorn, no one's out. Someone's got to miss out, though. Mackenzie Morrison and Jack Gunston is back. Who do we reckon, guys? Adelaide at home or Hawthorn up and about? Sicily's 150th game. Can they pull off the win in Adelaide?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I think there's too much talent out of Adelaide's team. No Dawson, as well as no Rankin from before. Yep. Doesn't look like Tex Walker's being. Tex Walker might play, but I don't know. I think the Hawks are just on fire at the moment. They're playing with courage. They're playing with good speed, and I like them. I think they're not afraid of Adelaide Oval. They should have beaten Port there as well earlier on in the season before conceding 2 goals in 30 seconds. Otherwise, they would have won. So I'm definitely on the Hawks this week.
Yeah, I'd agree. Very hard to disagree with that. Yep, on the Hawks too.
Easy. I reckon they're going to play top 8 this year and do all right in the finals. So they're not going to win a grand final, I don't think, but they're going to do okay. The first of the Sunday games sees Collingwood versus Richmond. Schultz, Mason Cox. Talk a bit about Mason Cox. Frampton's back. Bytel's back. Harrison is back if anyone still has him. I think it's just going to be extended bench and not play, though. Will Parker. McGuinness, Kruger. People have him. Maybe they had him in like a Nan Curvis cover, but unlucky. And Joe Richards is out, Joe. So people now have a loop, unfortunately. Nick Floston, Taranto's back. Bowers in, and Coulard. I can't say his name. And Toby Nankervis is out. So Noah Bolter, 100 games. Pretty crazy. He could have gone to North Melbourne. We picked up Will Walker, and then he had foot injuries, and we delisted him like 2 years after. So, it's not great. Who are we picking, boys? I assume we're picking Collingwood?
Yes.
Yep.
And
do we think it's going to be competitive or not really because Collingwood has all these players back?
Well, you never know, do you? You never know. I don't really know how to rate Collingwood at the moment, but all that I'll say is what I would love to see here, and it's a little bit biased because mate that I work with is best mates with Jack Bytel. I just want to see this bloke get the opportunity to play as an inside midfielder, not as a sub, not on the wing, not on half forward. Collingwood aren't going great at the moment. Please just give him a quarter, just pure inside mid, and give him a shot because he's the positions they've been playing him in just isn't suited to him as a player. And I know there's a bit of competition there, but I'm not even sure if he's selected this week. But if he is, I'd just love to see him given the role that suits him, just even experimentally for a little bit. Just, give him something. Just want to add that in because he's meant to be a ripping bloke as well, Jack Bytel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think Richmond's, without Nankervis there, is probably their linchpin in the team, and unfortunately he's out. Velo's saying here, yay, I had Gawn and Colby, so I gained Gawn, lose Colby, Revel, and Richards, so only 6 donuts this week. Yeah.
I just have the one donut this week, and that's McKercher, unfortunately. But I just want to look at the weather. They play on Sunday at the MCG. Few morning showers. Okay. If it was a dry day, you can expect a Nick Day cost $150. I'm probably still going to go with Nick Dacos as my captain. No Nankervis is massive. It's huge. Nankervis is a heart and soul player. He finds the pill. He's a great tap ruckman. I can see a lot of sharks. Nick Dacos is going to go big, I think.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, I think so as well. Matthew Anderson, evening, gents. There you go. Hey, Matthew, how you doing? And then the last game, not that really matters too much, but Mills is back. Witts is back. Caleb Mitchell's back. Francis, Peter Laddams is back. So they're bringing in a couple of tools. It looks like they've got a few tools in there and a tall forward potentially. Rampy and Papley out injured. Robbie Fox, 100th game. Bailey Dale, 150th game. Baker, Caleb Daniel Joe. Short stuff is back, hopefully. Probably not. Garcia's back, so maybe some people have coverage. It's funny. I find DR, it's really funny in AFL when there's all these articles and people saying they want a player, and then the coach names the player that they wanted because they were out on the fringe, right? So that's how it always works out in the AFL. And then Liam Jones is finally back as well. So nice to have him
That's
back.
Important in for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are we picking, fellas? I assume Sydney at home are pretty hard to beat, right?
They are.
I'm going with them at home. I think the SCG obviously lost last week. I think it'll be a good contest with the Dogs because this is such an important game for the Dogs. But it's too hard to go against Sydney, I think, playing at home. A couple of injuries, but lots of teams have got injuries at the moment. It'll be a good test for them anyway.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think Mills coming back just offers Sydney something a little bit more than maybe what they needed. And it kind of just gives them that boost. What do you reckon, Joe? Who's going to win?
I was really bullish on the Swans until I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, Liam Jones is back. Tom Papley is out. Rampy is out. The Dogs are in ripping hot form. They beat the Cats away and they beat the Blues. Yeah,
Maddie's on it.
I'm actually leaning towards the Bulldogs here. As crazy as it is.
Yeah.
I tipped the Dogs last week to beat the Cats and they didn't let me down. And I think I'm going to go with the Dogs here again. I just think the Swans got a few too many injuries now. If they're going to be relying on the Peanut Laddams to save the day, I don't think he's a savior.
Dangerous.
So I'm going to go with the Doggies.
There you go.
Good reason behind it, mate.
I guess we'll kind of go through the teams and we'll just pick out our captains and vice captains if everyone's got them ready to go.
Yeah. So I'm coming off a bit of a cold the last couple of days, so excuse my occasional cough here and there.
All right.
Good, mate.
Let's look at some captains and vice captains, starting with it's done it all in a weird ass order, hasn't it? He screwed me up. They knew it was going to happen, and Big J suffered for it.
So we're all tipping the Blues, yeah? Despite the short turnaround?
Yeah, I've picked them versus Port Adelaide. So Carlton versus Port Adelaide. Anyone in here captain or vice captain? Probably not captain, but anyone in his vice captain, guys?
Not for me.
No.
All right.
Carl can
North
give up
Mel-
points to rucks, but
Yeah.
no one's got any Port Adelaide rucks, so that's not too bad. So yeah, no one in that game.
North versus Geelong. Any vice captain? Probably Harry Sheasel potentially with all these North Melbourne defenders out. He might get shuffled back a little bit into the defense. I don't think anyone's got Geelong players, right? Or Cherry as well as a potential vice captain option. Geelong give up a lot of points to rucks.
Well, he bullied the other DeConning the other week, didn't he? So who knows
Sam,
how
here you
he'll
go.
treat Sammy.
Yep. He put the other one out of a game. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Sammy again. Gold Coast versus Brisbane. I know we were talking before, DR, about Flanders, Joe, as being potential vice captain option. Would you pick anyone else? Would you pick anyone from Brisbane, DR, or you think maybe a Neil and Dunkley are going to, top the tag a little bit more, or at least get some attention, right?
I don't mind Lockie. I don't mind Lockie Neal in this game. I think that he'll really want to bounce back. And I really don't mind the matchup, actually. So for me, it's actually most likely going to be a decision between Lockie Neal and Flanders from a VC. So my VC will most likely come out of this game, Big J. Where I'm leaning at the moment, I'm not exactly sure.
If you had Cherry, would you pick him over both of those?
Ooh.
I will say that the Gold Coast Suns are the third easiest matchup for inside mids for the last 5 games. So if you do have a Chalky Neal or a Dunkley, then they are primed to do well this week.
I would probably go Chalky over Sherry just because of the ultimate ceiling that Chalky has.
Yeah,
I think. But again, if you're going to get a ceiling game as a Sherry, this is a really nice matchup for him.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I'd probably still go with Chalky, in my opinion, mate. Tough one, though. Very tough.
We're not touching Zorko. If people didn't have any of them, they want to go Zorko.
No, well, look, there was a slight issue early on the game last week where he didn't look fantastic, but he ended up scoring really well, playing fine.
I think he scored the highest on the ground, didn't he?
Yeah. So you don't really take that into account, but I just think at the age as well, this time of year, no, I'm just not going to go there myself.
Yeah,
fair enough. Joe, how do Brisbane go against like halfbacks? People are talking Flanders potentially as a VC option.
Oh yeah, I mean you're picking him not necessarily because of because of the matchup, but the matchup is the most favourable. Brisbane do concede the most points in the last 5 games to designated kickers. So if he's playing that halfback distributor role, then this is the best matchup in the last 5 games. Plus, we know this guy does not score under 100. So it seems to be one of the best weeks to VC a Flanders type.
Yeah, I mean, like if I had picked Flanders as just straight captain for the last 4 weeks, I would have actually scored better regardless of who he was playing against. Just for the fact that like everyone scored under 100. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. Flanders VC it is, boys. That's it. Just for the fun.
Beautiful.
St Kilda versus Essendon. Are we picking anyone from here? We kind of say DR maybe from around this point onwards is captaincy potential. So maybe the last game of a vice captain. So anyone here vice captain? Zach Merritt, Martin, or potentially a Jack Steele or a Rowan Marshall?
Would you go? Yeah. Could you go a pot in Sinclair?
Yeah, I really like Sinclair. I really like Sinclair.
Look, there's no options that seem extremely safe to me. You're the Essendon man, Joey. What are you thinking about Zeret this week for those that are looking to go there somewhere in their loop?
Yeah, I like him. I like him. Is Windhager playing? Is there anyone that's going to run with over there? Is Windhager playing? I don't recall the team sheets, but I think he will be fine, especially because I think he'll have his hands full maybe with Parrish at the stoppages. I think Merritt, I'm not sure if they have anyone that can run with him, especially if there's no Windhager. I'm not sure anyone's going to be able to run with him. So I do like Merritt. Plus, the Saints are the 6th easiest matchup for the last 5 weeks when it comes to inside midfielders. And thanks, Velo. There's no Windy. So I do like Merritt. Merritt is a safe option, playing under the roof. And he was... The members got to see a post-match interview with him, and I have never seen an interview so blunt and so short before in my
He was
life.
dirty, wasn't he? He was dirty.
It was dead set. That was not an interview. That was the biggest FU, I don't want to speak right now, I've ever said in my life. So
It was, wasn't it?
that was unreal. Don't talk to me. I'm too pissed off. So now Merritt is going to come out like an absolute mother trucker. He's pissed, and he's going to bounce back really strong.
There you go. Melbourne versus GWS, probably the start of our captaincies. You could go Max Gawn. I think Briggs gives up a little bit of points towards them, but for me, it's a no. On GWS's side, potentially Whitfield, but probably not. Have you guys got anyone for this game or not really?
Not personally, mate. I wouldn't go Tommy Green. Too risky there. No. Gawn come back from injury. No. Clary, no. Nah, I don't think so for me, man.
Looking at Freo versus West Coast, I know a few people are looking at picking up Sarong as a captain's or vice captain if they haven't spent it already. And I don't think there's really anyone from West Coast, right? Sarong, you could go Luke Ryan, but I don't know how they go. Potentially a Hayden Young as well, or a Brayshaw. Sarong seems a very, very good pick here, guys.
Yes.
Depending if they try and tag him or not.
Now, West Coast, second easiest matchup in the last 5 games for inside mids. So definitely a very juicy, tantalizing matchup for Sarong, and I think this is going to be a smashing in Fremantle's way. So definitely think he's definitely in my plans, Sarong, for my VC and C this week.
Yeah,
very good.
We have Collingwood versus Richmond. I know some people like Joe's talking about Nick Dacos as a potential captaincy option there. I don't think there's really anyone else from this game. I mean, there's no name Curvis, which kind of sucks. Sydney versus Bulldogs. Now, there are quite a few people. I know there's going to be a few Grundys, potentially some Englishes. If you've got Bont, he's probably worth throwing a pick on Bont if you've got none of the other players. Errol Goulden as well. Yeah, there's quite a few players in this game.
Yeah, there are.
Is that a bit of a worry that there are so many players in this game?
Well, that's where I want to spend it before this game, just in case, because you don't know who's going to go pick it or not.
It's hard to... I'd find it really hard. I wouldn't be surprised to see any one of the primos from either the Dogs or the Swans go off, but I feel like I'd be throwing the dart here.
Correct.
I'd be a Sarong over anyone else in that game personally. Just personally, though.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then last game of the week, probably not that many. I mean, if you've got a Sicily with the last chance to pick someone, Will Day as well. But I mean, unless you were asleep or didn't have internet connection for the first 2 or 3 days of the weekend, I think you're not picking anyone from this game, really.
Nah, I don't think so, mate.
No. So it looks like for me this week, I'm probably going to go. We'll go Flanders just because I've sucked every time I pick the captain, which means guaranteed Flanders is probably going to go 65 as vice captain this week. I'm going to break the curse because I picked him. And then we'll figure it out. Maybe Sarong. We'll go Sarong captain just for fun.
Yep, don't mind that.
All right. Guys, we've probably got 5 or so more. Yeah, 5 or so more minutes to go. So how about we smash through some of these questions if we've got anything, Joe? Where are we up to?
I think I'm doing Sarong into Dacos, or it could be Merritt into Sarong, I'm thinking. It's one of those. The Sarong's definitely 100% in the mix. Not sure if it's a Merritt into Sarong or Sarong into Dacos. I'm going to sleep on that, and I'm going to let, hopefully, my guardian, Job Watson, come to me in my sleep and whisper and tell me that you should pick Zeret. Pick Zeret.
You made an important point, I think, mate, and that's a fact. Going thinking back to that interview, and you're absolutely right. He was so dirty. Like, surely he'd be breathing fire this week. It's almost swaying me to the Zeret VC, to be quite honest.
He hasn't had a big game all season, though, right? Like, not really a big game all season. Has it been just the attention or like a Caldwell and Durham kind of taking a bit of points? I mean, he has had a 130 or 145 2 weeks ago, I guess, but everything else has been fairly mellow, hasn't it? Like, it's been a consistent 120, but not like a monster score.
He's had 9 over 120s.
Yeah, but one's a 120.
Of which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were over 130, or 6 of them were over 130. So,
okay.
No, he's shown that he's capable of scoring really big. Against St Kilda last time, he scored a 131, and that was also at Marvel Stadium as well. So it's, he does have a pretty favourable matchup, I think. I think the Saints historically have had some troubles keeping up with the outside mids because they are pretty one-paced in their midfield. And so it's the spread that really hurts them. And if Parrish has been named and Parrish can get first hand to the ball, him, Caldwell, Durham can feed the ball out. That's now an extra person that can win the clearance, which means it's an extra person that can feed the ball to Merritt on the outside. And now we've got 2 meter Peter back, so that now is another leading target in the forward line that could take a mark, which means potentially more score assists. So I've almost convinced myself now as well that I'm going to.
You've always convinced me too, Joey. Yeah, you've always convinced me too. I'm just listening and going,
yep. Flanders VC survived 3 minutes.
Oh, would you go him as captain, Joe? Would you prefer to VC him or have him as your backup C if you're going to go early?
Surely you VC him.
No, as a VC, not as a
VC?
C. I wouldn't straight captain Merritt, this week because, it's true that Velo can see Parrish playing managed minutes this week. It's possible, but if he's being managed, then that means someone else has to come in and take his role, I suppose, playing in the midfield. But I still like him as a VC, and if you have Sarong, I think he is a very, very safe follow-up captain with a very high ceiling. So if you own Sarong, who's going to be a sure thing, then you almost have a free hit with whoever your VC is going to be.
Yeah,
good point.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I love this. Look at this, mate. Hoops can't believe it. If it's actually me, like it's can you believe it? I can't believe it, mate. Half the time. No, I'm just kidding. You're a funny one. You're a funny one, Hoops. G'day, Matthew. You're a star. I think we've all tipped the Carlton Blues for this one. Your boys, Matthew.
Yeah.
How concerned are we about the short turnaround? Like, it is really short. They played the Sunday night, and they're automatically now coming around playing on Friday.
To be honest, you know what I think they probably should have done is said, Carlton, you can't play Harry Mackay this week. To be honest, they're backtracking. They've come out and said, HIA should have been done, all these other things. He clearly was somewhat knocked out on the field and whatever. For him to just come back and be allowed to play, yeah, it's not great for them. We've picked Carlton, but yeah, if there were a couple more forced outs, which I think there should have been, would have been a bit of a closer game.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with the Blues. I mean, Mitch McGovern's a pretty big in. I think Mark Pitane, I like calling him Mark Shitane, but to be fair, he's a very handy backup ruckman to have.
Absolutely.
He would be a first ruckman, probably at a bunch of other people's teams. So no, I'm pretty comfortable with the Carlton pick, Matthew. Did you say Peanut Lattims? Yeah, mate. It was coined by yours truly.
The absolute peanut, I'll tell you. During COVID, long story, too long for now, but screwed me, mate. Screwed me and a few others.
You didn't pick Peanut Lattims, did you, DR?
Oh, dear. I don't even want to.
Come on.
Don't remind him, mate. Come on. We're keeping positive vibes here.
Yeah.
So my question for you, DR, are you gonna trade Fisher now? Is Fisher gone? Because we were talking about before, depending on what his injury and things like that, are you spending the trade and getting rid of him?
No,
what's
I'm not,
happening?
mate. The good thing about it, and this is why I was really worried that I might have to trade him, is the fact that his break even's like 156, I think, from memory, or 150 plus. So if I didn't trade him this week, he'd go down that much that your options are basically zero. But the option I was looking at, if it was going to be anyone, just due to how much I've got in the bank, was probably going to be Colton McKercher. So I'm just thinking that I don't need him this week anyway. So I'll just save the trades for now, mate. And you know, a week is a long time in Supercoach, as we all know. So, given the fact he's not going to be losing rapid cash, just a hold for me because I don't need him at the moment.
Yep. Sounds very good. Last trade, asked Murray, Fisher to Sinclair or Sarong? I'll say I like Sarong. It just feels, I'm not going to say so right. It's good for you to trade him in. He's got the fourth easiest matchup in terms of the run home for inside mids. He's got the fourth easiest run home. He's got the Eagles this week, the Bombers next week, Geelong the following week. So that's 3 green matchups there. So I do like Sarong, especially this week. You can chuck the C on him as well, and he'll give you a good score more than likely.
The only reason why you wouldn't pick it would just be for the pod factor, really. I mean, Sinclair does have like every game at home at Marvel, and he loves Marvel. So maybe that's something to go there. But yeah, it's pretty hard to pass up the stats.
Fisher to Bolton or Fisher to D'Ambrosio?
I'd much rather go D'Ambrosio myself. Much rather.
You know what? I would much rather go Evans. If you had the cash to spend, just get Evans.
Joe loves Evans, doesn't he? Like,
mate,
all over it.
Evans. I'll tell you, Evans.
Oh, yeah.
Massimo with the DPP is nice. If we had kept him all season, DR, mate, DPP, coverage, scoring 100 plus every week for 200K. Come on, man.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I jumped on jumped off 350 odd or something. I can't even remember now, but nothing like he is now. Yeah, well done to the young man.
Yeah, for sure. So Big J coming to the Apple Isle this week, right?
No, not happening. Sorry, mate. I got to work. I got a job.
Maltesing, what do you guys think of McDonald as a DPP last trade? As I have plenty of issues with Fisher, McKercher, and Sexton.
Which McDonald?
I think same from Hawthorn.
Oh, okay. From
I don't like it. I mean, he had 14 touches and kicked 4-1.
Are you sure that
109? Like, huh?
It's spelled MCD. MCD McDonald.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Don't tell me Luke McDonald.
MAC. Hang on. Is it Luke McDonald? Is it Luke?
No. MAC is Connor McDonald from Hawthorn. I assume that's who he means.
Tom McDonald from Melbourne.
Oh no.
Tom McDonald.
Defensive forward.
Don't do it. No.
Tommy McDonald, mate.
112.
I understand, but no. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Do it.
I know. I think the reason
they need to play him. If they don't play him,
it's his DPP he's probably looking for McDonald there, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's the defensive forward DPP covers a lot, especially with you having the defensive DPP players already in your team. Maltesing. I mean, you've got the sexy boy, you've got Sexton, and Fisher. So, look, it's possible. It's possible. He's playing a lot of defense, and you'd much rather him play in the back line than the forward line. So it's not like he's going to give you key forward scores every week. You're not picking him to be a world beater. You're just picking him to have a warm body on the field as an extra type of premium. So it's possible that you could go with him. Does Rory Lobb have DPP?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's only been 2 recent, hasn't it? Yeah, it's only a forward. Yeah, so I don't mind it.
401.
I don't mind it. Watching you
Agreed.
drive reminds me of the song Night Moves by Bob Sager. Nah, mate. Bob Sager's a handsome fella, mate. He's a very handsome fella. He's Hayden Young, a sneaky VC or C option as I see him being left alone this week.
Could kick a few
Yeah.
snags. Spend a little bit of time forward.
Yeah.
Sneaky, yes. Yeah, oh, look, I'd much rather go Sarong myself. But, yeah, it could be sneaky against opposition.
It will definitely be sneaky. At least Fishpoo Jonas. At least Fishpoo won't lose any money with his massive break even this week. We're going to trade him next week for Supercoach finals.
Yep. 100% Jonas.
Richardson 5 out for Moore and Carroll. Leaves me no trades. Thoughts got Reed, Roberts, Garcia, Humpty, and Carroll as cover.
Reed. So is that Harley Reed? Must be. If it's cover or Roberts.
I would think so.
Like Matt Roberts.
Jeez, what is this cover, Michael? How did you get catch gen, mate?
Michael, did you just not trade your play?
That's unbelievable.
Surely Matt. Gee, it's decent cover if that's who it is.
That's unreal. That's unreal cover, mate. Yeah, it is Harley Reid. But but who's the Roberts, mate?
Wow.
Beware the Eagles. Fair enough. D'Ambrosio, who do I bring him in for, lads?
Bring him in for. Is it out of like McKercher or Fisher? Is that what the question is?
I think that might be the question.
You'd much rather hold on to McKercher at this stage, wouldn't you? Over Fish?
Yeah.
If DPP isn't a massive factor for you? Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely
I agree.
Yep.
Should I trade McKercher to Bond or Neil? Or go down to 0 trades? Or just hold? Wow. How much money do you have in the bank, Rainer, to just go McKercher to Bond?
Wow.
It's not too bad.
Look, I would probably trade in Bond, to be honest, if you can do it.
Yeah.
It all depends on your coverage, right? That's the big thing. If you have enough rookies or primos covering the positions, do it. If you don't do it, obviously. You never want to bring yourself down to having like donuts on field. That's definitely the worst thing.
Yeah.
Michael's brought in Matt Roberts last week, traded him out Breville the sandwich press. He's traded him out for Roberts.
Mate,
That was
people
nice
playing
trade.
5D chess over here, Joe. Tell you what.
Michael, teach me your ways, mate. Teach me your ways.
On your mic.
And I think that will do us for the night. Thanks you
Thanks,
guys
for jumping on.
Thanks, dear.
Thank you for having me on, mate. It's always a pleasure. When you mentioned before the teams, you're like, oh, no, I know a couple of things. I honestly thought there was carnage. I'm like, oh, would he say that unless it was absolute carnage? But to see LEO back, to see Maxi gone back, Doggers named, Caldwell's there, Rosie's there. It's like, yes, this will be the first week. I can, and when I say 22 premiums, do we call Simpkin a premium? But as close as I can call it to 22 premiums, finally fielding him. Fisher is injured, but whatever. At least I've got 22 that doesn't involve Manor and Dowling, and I can actually emergency them for carnage during the round. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but going really well. Thanks, boys, and appreciate you having me on as always. Yep, love you too. You know that.
Love you more. Please send our love to Janet and Spills.
Will do, mate. Yes.
Looking forward to, hopefully doing something, all of us together at some point down the track. Later in the year,
mate.
Maybe meet in person. 100%. Sneaky little, and then hopefully have some good fun. Yeah. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. If you haven't already, I don't know how you wouldn't have. Subscribe to DR. Subscribe, and check out the Sword Play podcast, mate. Go north, kick the putties, please. Oh yeah, well censored, Velo. Well done. If you haven't already subscribed to us, please hit the notification bell, thumbs up. Obviously helps with the algorithm to get us out. Hopefully next time around, I'm not 55 minutes late, and I can actually be close enough to the start. And we look forward to seeing you all on Monday.
All good. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Have fun. Hopefully you haven't got smashed by McKercher and Fisher too much. Here at the Centre
Stuff
Bounce,
in
we
your
do the hard work, so you guys don't have to. Bye for now.
There you guys.
See you guys. No more.